Hi, Professor Chen. My name is Phương Trinh, and right now I will do my presentation. Firstly, I will talk about what is average. Average is the basic reductive number. It is a method that scientists use to assess how an epidemic spreads in a community and a measure of the infection potential of a new disease. Average tells us on average how many people who have been infected will infect others in an entirely susceptible population. Average does not represent the severity of an epidemic. Average help government and health organizations implement disease control strategies. Average is not a biological constant for pathogens because it is also influenced by other factors such as environmental conditions and behavior of an infected person. Next, I will talk about how to calculate average. The formula for average is average equal beta divided y. Beta is transmission rate, the number of contacts by infected case in defined time and contact rate. Y equal 1 divided average infection period. If average are less than 1, the disease will basically be eliminated soon. If average greater than 1, that means it infected person will infect at least one other person and will spread throughout the population. The larger the value of average, the harder it is to control the epidemic. For example, a disease has an average coefficient about 5 to 7, meaning that one person can infect 5 to 7 other people who are not resistant to the virus. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Envo and today I'm gonna present what is the RO number for SARS-CoV number 2. Estimate of the RO of SARS-CoV number 2 vary widely. All from study in China or South Korea, the mean estimate of RO is 2.63. From a wider survey of 16 public estimates, the mean estimate is about 2.65. In both cases, the range goes from 0.4 to 4.6. A recent study focusing on the first 425 cases in China showed that the virus have a basic reproductive value is 2.2, meaning that each patient could pass the virus on to about 2 others. Theoretically, this would make the virus more contagious than the 1918 flu virus, with a base reproductive value of 1.8. But the research have preliminary and many other factors, including public health measures such as quarantine, affect the spread of the disease. In a statement on January 2020 about the outbreak of COVID-19, brought in by the World Health Organization gave a preliminary or estimate of around 1.4 to 2.5. When a test for neutralizing antibody to SARS-CoV-2 and a vaccine are available, we shall be able to tell to what extent the population have been immunized by exposure and vaccination. So for the RO data, the average number of people that's one person with COVID-19 infects like around 2 to 2.5. For example, the Diamond Princess cruise ship found that all of fixed estimate is around 2.2. So the coronavirus RO was as high as 5.7 in the early day of its Wuhan outbreak. So for example, to compare to other disease, the seasonal flu is about 1.3 RO, that means less than the coronavirus right now. But the coronavirus is also less the contagious than measles, is about 15 to 18 RO. The RO changes depending on how a person behaves, social structure of a population, the birth ability to infect people, and how long the sickness is infectious. If the RO is less than 1 at the start of an outbreak, this means the virus is no longer able to spread as it is being passed on to less than one other person on advance. But if RO is larger than 1, then the outbreak will grow exponentially. But no one knows the future impact of the current disease control measures. Epidemiologists' current estimate of the RO say nothing about the measures such as travel restriction, social distancing, and self-quarantine effort will influence the virus continued spread.
The new coronavirus reproduction number are not also have been estimated between 1.4 and 5.7 in various studies, estimating that if one person infected, the virus will spread from 2 to 6 persons. It's difficult to establish the exact or not value due to a variation in identifying and testing infected people between the regions. According to World Health Organization COVID-19 model for prediction, the estimated R naught equal 2.55 until March 19, 2020 is very close to R naught that were found on the Chinese epidemic data, R naught equal to 2.35 until February 4, 2020. Compare R naught COVID-19 to other viruses from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. As we can see, Ebola, one person infected, will spread it to 2 persons. MERS-CoV, one infected, will spread it to 3. SARS, one infected, will spread it to 3. Mumps, one infected, will spread it to 7. Smallpox, one infected, will spread it to 7. Measles, one infected, will spread it from 12 to 18 persons.
With the widespread fear of contacting coronavirus also has effects on our immune system. When the fear is heightened, the stress response to the body weakens the immune system and makes our body more vulnerable and more likely to contact any kind of illnesses. Some factors that will increase the likelihood of transmissions are visiting crowded and public gathering areas, touching our face, public contact with others like handshakes, and non essential travel. The picture shown is an example of a crowded airport. Due to the whole coronavirus, a lot of airline flights have dropped their prices dramatically. So people think it's okay to travel because the prices are low. In my opinion, if it's not essential, then why put yourself at risk of catching the virus? To minimize these chances are to wash our hands frequently, cough and sneeze into our elbows, wear a mask, and clean any shared surfaces. The ideal action we can do individually is to autoimmune ourselves by using hand sanitizers, washing our hands frequently, and wearing masks. This is relatively simple to protect ourselves, but by human nature, we use our hands to touch our face countless numbers of times without even realizing it. The most common way to get infected is by touching a surface that has germs transmitted by another person's cough or sneeze, and touching our face would be we will have a higher chance of the virus coming to contact with our body because it is a gateway to entering our body.
During my presentation, I have totally four bullet point. The first bullet point is the unsafe distance between two persons. The second one is respiratory droplets produced by close contact, which is direct contact. The third bullet point is the landing of droplets, which is indirect contact. And the last one is some study has suggested that COVID-19 may be spread by people who are not showing symptoms. So I'm gonna go over the first one, the unsafe distance between two persons. So according to the Center of Disease and Control and Prevention, which is CDC, 6 feet or 2 meters is the safety distance between two people. This means that any distance under 6 feet or 2 meters could be potentially dangerous. The respiratory droplets produced when an infected person coughs, sneezes, or talks. This is also considered as direct contact. So because the virus is pretty small, it can be carried by the droplet, and then when someone sneezes into the air, that is the reason why that we always want to maintain the social distances um, between two person, which is 6 feet away, and wearing mask is also one of the recommendation that everybody has to follow because wearing mask helps us at least from preventing the virus from landing into our nose or mouth. and wearing extra goggle is also very helpful right now. The landing of the droplets, which is also considered as indirect contact. This is an extremely dangerous factor that could spread the virus from person to another person. Because the virus, they can survive on some type of material. For example, the virus can stay on the plastic or stand still for 2 or 3 days, copper for 1 day, and copper for almost 4 days. I believe that this is the reason why that a lot of supermarket they don't allow the customer to carry the reusable plastic bag inside the store because they're afraid that the virus could landing onto another people or some surface and it's caused by the widespread disease. Some recent study that have shown that the COVID-19 may be spread by people who are not showing symptoms. So we all study about it, and we know that the incubation time of the coronavirus is up to 2 weeks. So that means that there was a lot of people who infected by the coronavirus, but asymptomatic, which is they don't show any symptom, and they start to go outside and spread to another people. According to the Health Central, there was a study found out that in 3,063 cases of positive coronavirus, there was around 334 cases that's no symptom, uh, even though that they have gone through the self quarantine, which is 2 weeks. Thank you.